Ever looked at your life and wondered, what am I even doing here? In the quiet moments when the world is asleep, the questions echo, what is my purpose? Why am I here? It's in this silence, feeling lost, that the journey begins, not by finding a map, but by learning to trust the one who holds it. To feel lost is to carry a unique kind of weight. The journey can feel isolating, surrounded by people yet fundamentally alone. But what if this wandering is preparation? God often does His most profound work in the wilderness, forging a path you cannot yet see. It feels like you were born into a race you never signed up for. The world sets expectations: school, job, family, milestones. You follow the crowd, but somewhere along the way you pause and suddenly everyone else is gone. You feel left behind, running in place, searching for meaning in a race with no real finish line. Comparison is a thief that steals joy. On your phone, you see everyone's highlight reels, weddings, promotions, perfect moments, while your own life feels messy and small. But God doesn't measure you by the world's yardstick. He sees your whole story, loves you as you are, and calls you to a unique purpose. Deeper than the fear of being behind is the fear of being forgotten. You wonder if your life will leave a mark or be washed away like a footprint in the sand. But you are not forgotten. God has engraved you on the palms of His hands. He sees you always. Moses was born a slave, raised as a prince, and destined for greatness. But one impulsive act forced him into exile, trading royal privilege for the barren silence of the desert. He lost everything: identity, home, and future. Yet, as Moses learned, the wilderness is not the end, but the beginning of a deeper story. In the desolate land of Midian, Moses' new life began. He wasn't a leader of armies or a counselor to Pharaoh anymore. He became a shepherd. He married Zipporah, the daughter of a local priest, and settled into a life of quiet obscurity. His days were no longer filled with the politics and intrigue of the court. Instead, they were marked by the slow, monotonous rhythm of caring for a flock of sheep. He led them to pasture, found them water, and protected them from predators. His world shrank from a vast kingdom to the small, dusty circle of his flock's daily needs. For 40 years, this was his life. 40 years, think about that. Not a few months or a couple of years, but 4 decades. That's an entire career, an entire generation. The fiery, passionate prince of Egypt slowly transformed into a patient, weathered shepherd. The silence of the desert became his constant companion. The grand ambitions he once held were likely ground down by the slow, repetitive nature of his work. He learned the names of the stars, the patterns of the wind, and the hidden springs of water in the dry land. He learned to be patient, to wait, to endure the harshness of the wilderness. This season must have felt like a complete waste. What good was his royal education now? What use was his knowledge of Egyptian military strategy while he was chasing a stray lamb? It would have been easy for him to fall into despair, to believe that God had completely forgotten him. He was in his 80s, his youth and strength long gone. Any dream of being a deliverer for his people must have seemed like a foolish, distant memory. He was just an old man, tending sheep on the backside of a desert, his life seemingly amounting to nothing of significance. He was hidden, overlooked, and seemingly purposeless. But God was at work. This long, silent season was not a punishment, it was a preparation. In the palace, Moses learned how to talk to a king, but in the wilderness, he was learning how to lead a stubborn and wandering people. He was developing the patience, humility, and endurance he would need for the monumental task ahead. God was stripping away the pride and self-reliance of the prince and forging the heart of a shepherd. The skills he was learning were not for the sheep he was tending, but for the nation he would one day guide. The purpose was being built in the hiddenness, in the slow, unseen work of the shepherd. Before Moses could lead, he had to unlearn Egypt's ways, power, pride, and self-reliance. In the wilderness, strength meant little. Moses learned dependence, humility, and surrender. God clears away our old foundations so we can find true purpose, not in control, but in letting go. For 40 years, Moses heard only silence, no burning bush, no thunderous voice, just the desert wind and the bleating of sheep. God's silence wasn't absence. He was watching, shaping, and preparing Moses in the quiet, teaching him faithfulness in ordinary days. During his time as a shepherd, Moses' life was defined by the ordinary, waking up, leading the sheep, finding water, protecting them, bringing them home. Day in, day out, the routine was the same. There was nothing glamorous or exciting about it. It was simple, hard, and repetitive work. This was a stark contrast to his life in Egypt, which was filled with extraordinary events, grand ceremonies, and matters of state. He had traded a life of spectacle for a life of profound simplicity. His world had become small, focused on the mundane, everyday tasks required to keep his flock alive. It is in the midst of this ordinary, unremarkable life that God chose to reveal himself. He didn't appear to Moses in a dream in the Pharaoh's palace or during a great battle. He appeared to him while he was doing his job, while he was engaged in the simple, faithful work of a shepherd. This tells us something incredibly profound about God. He is not just a God of the mountaintop experiences, the miracles, and the grand public displays of power. He is the God of the ordinary. He meets us in the middle of our everyday lives, in the midst of our routines and responsibilities. We often make the mistake of thinking that our purpose has to be something spectacular. We look for a grand calling, a dramatic sign that will change everything. We believe that to be used by God, we must be doing something important for His kingdom, leading a ministry, going on a mission trip, or speaking to thousands. We devalue the ordinary seasons of our lives. We see our 9-to-5 jobs, our care for our families, our daily chores as just the in-between stuff we have to do while we wait for our real purpose to begin. We fail to see the sacredness in the simple. But the story of Moses reminds us that God is consecrating our ordinary days. He is present in the office, in the classroom, in the kitchen, and in the driver's seat. The character, patience, and faithfulness you are building in your seemingly mundane life are the very things God will use for His glory. Your hidden season of ordinary work is not a waiting room for your purpose. It is the workshop where your purpose is being forged. God is not waiting for you to do something extraordinary for Him. He wants to do something extraordinary in and through you, right where you are in the middle of your perfectly ordinary life. After 40 years in the wilderness, Moses' ordinary day was interrupted by the extraordinary, a bush that burned but was not consumed. Drawn by curiosity, Moses approached, and God called his name, "Moses, Moses." In that moment, God affirmed Moses' identity. He was not forgotten. God revealed His plan. Moses would deliver Israel from slavery. But Moses, humbled by years in obscurity, doubted himself. Who am I to do this? God didn't choose Moses for his strength, but for his willingness to rely on divine power. Our seasons of hiddenness prepare us for purpose, not by making us strong, but by making us dependent on God. When you feel lost or unqualified, remember, that's often when you're most ready for your calling. Purpose isn't achieved by striving, it's received in humility. God meets us in our weakness, not our strength. We're told life must follow a set timeline, career, family, success by a certain age, but God's timing is different. Abraham waited decades for a promise. Joseph endured years in obscurity. Moses' purpose unfolded after 40 years in the desert. Delay isn't denial, it's preparation. Your journey isn't a race against others, it's a walk with your Creator. The waiting, the confusion, the detours, they're not wasted. They're shaping your story. God is never late. He's crafting a masterpiece, and you are that masterpiece. Release the pressure to catch up. You're not behind. Trust the unique rhythm of your life. Your purpose will arrive at the perfect time, neither too soon nor too late. Rest in God's timing. It's always right. In a world obsessed with visibility, hidden seasons feel like setbacks. But God values what happens in the unseen, like seeds in soil or a caterpillar in a chrysalis. Your character and purpose are forged in quiet obscurity. Hiddenness is not a waiting room, it's a training ground. Here, God teaches humility, faithfulness, and trust, qualities that sustain true purpose. Don't despise your hidden season, embrace it as sacred space. Be faithful in small things. God sees every unseen act. This is your Midian, your preparation. What feels like delay is actually deep formation. In the hidden places, God is building something beautiful and eternal within you. Uncertainty is unsettling. We crave maps and guarantees. But faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting God in the fog. God rarely gives us the full plan. Instead, He offers His presence. Follow me. Like Abraham, like the Israelites at the Red Sea, we're called to take the next step, not see the whole path. God's presence is our compass, guiding us one step at a time. You're not alone in your uncertainty. God walks with you even when you can't feel Him. Your purpose now is to trust, not to figure out the future. Take the next faithful step. You don't need to see the whole journey. Just trust the guide who never leaves you. In uncertainty, God's presence is enough. To the weary heart that feels left behind, hear this: you are not behind. God doesn't measure your life by human timelines or milestones. Every detour, every delay, every wilderness is part of His story for you. What you see as wasted years, God redeems and restores. Your journey isn't a race, it's a story, and God is the author. Release the pressure to keep up. Your path is unique. Comparison steals joy. Focus on your own chapter. You are exactly where you need to be for what God is teaching you now. God is working even in the unseen. You are not behind. You are right on time. In the deep quiet of your heart, you may fear being forgotten, like a whisper in a windstorm, unseen and unheard. But here's the truth: you are not forgotten. You are engraved on the palms of His hands. Your worth is inherent, constant, and absolute. You matter. You always have, and you always will. The confusion you feel right now, the sense that your life lacks direction, can lead you to believe that your story is purposeless. You look at the scattered pieces of your life, the jobs, the relationships, the experiences, the disappointments, and they don't seem to fit together. It feels like a random collection of events with no overarching theme, no grand narrative. You fear that your life will be a story that was started but never finished, a tale with no point. You long for meaning, for a thread that ties it all together, but right now, all you can see is a tangled mess of disconnected threads. But your story is not over. This chapter, this season of feeling lost, is not the final word. The God who is the author of your life is an expert at weaving purpose out of what seems pointless. He specializes in taking the tangled threads of our lives and creating a beautiful tapestry. The parts of your story that you are ashamed of, the parts that make no sense to you, the parts that you wish you could cut out, those are the very sections He often uses to display His greatest grace and power. Your weakness becomes the canvas for His strength. Your brokenness becomes the vessel for His light. Like Moses in the desert, your hidden season is not a waste. It is a vital part of your narrative. The patience you are learning, the humility you are gaining, the dependence on God you are developing, these are all part of the plot. They are essential character developments for the hero you are becoming. God is not wasting your pain or your waiting. He is investing it. He is using this time to forge you into the person He needs you to be for the purpose He has for you. Your story is still being written, and the author is perfect. He never writes a story without a powerful redemptive purpose. So do not lose heart. Your life is not a random accident. It is a divinely authored story, and it still has immense purpose. Even if you can't see it right now, you can trust the writer. You can trust that every scene, every line, every moment of silence is intentional. Your story matters because it is part of His greater story. The world is waiting for the unique testimony that only you can share, a testimony that is being shaped right now in this very season of uncertainty. Your story is not finished. It is still unfolding. And believe me, the best chapters are yet to come. The path ahead is foggy, and you may still feel lost. But God's invitation isn't to have all the answers. It's to trust Him and take the next small step forward in faith. You don't need to see the whole staircase. Just focus on the next step and keep moving with Him. Maybe you're not lost at all. Maybe you're just in the middle of a long and beautiful journey home, still becoming, right here in this very moment. And that is a place of incredible, unshakable hope because grace still speaks.